आम्ही अँटी डेव्हलपमेंट जाऊ शकत नाहीत. आम्ही कुठंतरी मग हा विचार करतो की सस्टेनेबल डेव्हलपमेंट कसं असू शकतं, मग नवीन टेक्नॉलॉजीज काय, पर्यावरणपूरक इमारती कशा असू शकतात. आम्ही हे पण जाणतोय की शहराची कॅरिंग कॅपॅसिटी आहे, एक लिमिटेड कॅरिंग कॅपॅसिटी आहे. मग त्या कॅरिंग कॅपॅसिटीच्या लिमिट्समध्ये असूनच आपण शहर हिरवं आणि येट लिव्हेबल कसं ठेवू शकतो. तर यासाठी बरेचसे आता नवीन तंत्रज्ञान येतात आहे, नवीन रूल्स येतात आहे. परंतु एवढं मात्र नक्की की FSI जर खूपच मोठ्या प्रमाणात वाढला तर मग इवन सस्टेनेबल डेव्हलपमेंट करणं सुद्धा खूप अवघड जाणार आहे. आणि हा जो बॅलन्स आहे डेव्हलपमेंट अँड एन्व्हायरमेंट, हा बॅलन्स साधणं अवघड जाणार आहे.
म्हणजे हे तुम्हाला समस्या वाटते. या
ॲड टू वॉट मंगेश जी इज सेईंग, ही एक पुरोगामी महापालिका आहे. अँड लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर नॉट अवेअर दॅट दिस कॉर्पोरेशन, including this officer, gentleman sitting here, were part of a team which opposed this UDCPR.
Very good.
Yeah, now in his official capacity, maybe he cannot say these things, but you see, they took a role of opposing this UDCPR and said, if you bring this kind of a law in, it will kill Pune. Because Pune does not have the carrying capacity to support unlimited FSI. But you see, we have some people from the desert whose models of development are Dubai, where there are no trees, or Singapore, where again they have built everything over all the jungle that they had, and they don't care about anything else. So these kind of models of development are what are upheld. And like Raval sir said, Hong Kong, where 33,000 people are living in a single building. And that has happened in China, but that's China. You see, in China what happens is they'll build these sort of buildings, then they realize that something's gone wrong, then they demolish all those buildings overnight. So that is China. They succeed in doing these kind of crazy things. We can't do that in Pune. And let's look at what Pune is. Pune is 15,642 square kilometers. That is the size of Pune district. Out of which Pune City is only 319 square kilometers. Pimpri Chinchwad is 200 square kilometers. The total Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad area is 519 square kilometers. That's it. If you look at an example of a very well planned city in India, the biggest example that is given to all of us is Chandigarh. Chandigarh is only 100 square kilometers. Chandigarh was planned in the 1950s. It took 2 years to plan Chandigarh and 10 years to build Chandigarh in the 1950s and 60s. That time there was no satellite, there was no Raval sir, there were no simulation models. All these things didn't exist. And in the 1950s they succeeded in building that beautiful city, and beautiful cities like that can be built in Pune. So we have, Pune has a capacity of building 100 Chandigarhs or 150 Chandigarhs within the district. But why aren't we building those? Because it is easier to build a 50-story building in model colony. बेचना आसान है भाई, बेचना आसान है. When I say my address is model colony, 25,000 रुपये स्क्वायर फुट तो मिलेगा. बाद में सर आप मेंटेनेंस भरोगे, ट्रैफिक जाम में तो आप फंसोगे, पानी आपको नहीं मिलेगा, आप टैंकर का पानी पियोगे. We'll do that. Later on, let the residents suffer.
अमित, मी हां एकच मिनिट. मी तुम्हाला सांगतो सगळ्यांना, म्हणजे आणि मी हे विषय आत्ता घेण्याचं कारण, जे अधिकारी उपअभियंता हे सगळे बिल्डिंग्स सही करतात, प्लॅन अप्रूव्ह करतात, त्यांच्याकडे आम्ही मॉडेल कॉलनी परिसर म्हणून गेलो आणि त्यांना विनंती केली की आम्हाला ह्याच्यावर सोल्युशन द्या, कारण आम्हाला हे पटत नाही आहे. त्यांनी काय सोल्युशन दिलं असेल? सरकारी अधिकाऱ्यांनी त्यांच्या ऑफिसमध्ये मला सांगितलं, मोहिते साहेब, आणि तुम्हाला माहिती मी मॉडेल कॉलनीतच राहतो, ते म्हटले मॉडेल कॉलनी सोडून तुम्ही दुसरीकडे जा. दिस वॉज द सोल्युशन गिवन सिरियसली. ते म्हटले हे UDCPR आहे, ह्याच्या पलीकडे आम्ही जाऊ शकत नाही, मला हे एक्झिक्यूट करायचं आहे. मी ह्याला चॅलेंज करण्याची वेळ निघून गेली. तर एक मिनिट, तिथं माईक दे, आपण काही बाहेर घेऊ.
See, when Vandana madam was here, she was talking about 1 FSI, 2 FSI, 6 FSI, 7 FSI. Now, how is the builder able to build this number of flats? Because these flats are getting sold. Like you said, there are buyers to this flat. Now, what I am going to propose may look selfish, may look impractical, may look somewhat like what Trump has said. What I am suggesting is, that you take model colony as a locality and you ensure that 80% of the development which takes place here, the space should be available only to the residents of model colony. If you do that, only 20% the builder can sell to people outside of model colony. If you do that, you protect model colony people's interest by giving them better facilities, and you restrict the inflow of people into model colony.
So is it possible?
No, constitutionally not possible. It's not possible as per the law.
By constitution, it's not possible. You can't prevent the people coming into once.
I know. What I was
your
suggesting was
first
looking
question-
like what Sir Trump was saying, but I don't.
You can't apply because you can't compare the Trump and India.
No.
I just want to give a clarification. First, you said that what technology and all. Now technology is available. Very fast they can construct the multi-story building with the alu form and the new kind of a form work. And it's all concrete. You won't find any single brick in the houses. If you just visit, you will find. So it's just a casting a concrete and going up and up and up. So that's very well proven, and all the buildings are here. Only thing is that they can construct it very fast. They can sell it only. I'm saying is that the livability within the house also it's very uncomfortable. The concrete house and the house constructed with the normal brick is quite different. So ultimately, those who are going to occupy, they will end up paying more energy. You will put up ACs and all, and you can just check up all their electricity bill of all these people. You will find that. Now that's the reality.
Now, like you mentioned, Chandigarh, maybe in Chandigarh they have restricted the height of buildings. I suppose this is one of the things what they have done, that you cannot go beyond a particular height. I think probably something like that could be brought into this UDCPR or whatever.
There is
you're
no
talking
dearth of resources. First of all, let us get this one thing clear. There is no shortage of land. There is no shortage of money. There is no shortage of funds. There is no dearth of resources. Pune Municipal Corporation has 15,642 employees. Pune Municipal Corporation has a budget of 12,500 crores. Pimpri Chinchwad has a budget of 8,500 crores. PMRDA for only planning has a budget of 3,500 crores. They spend 10 crores a day only on planning. You can hire the best architects in the world. So if you tell them I will pay you 10 crores a day for 20 days, 30 days, 50 days, you can fund Professor Rawal's department at the COAP and all his students for the next 10 years with whatever money. There's no dearth of resources. There is no will to want to do a good job of things.
So what you are suggesting is that our will to
We will have to create
Get
the will.
together.
Yes, we will have to create it.
As Rawal sir referred to open spaces and amenity spaces, I request what model colony could do in case of open spaces, amenity spaces, so that they can preserve these open spaces, at least since we are from the earlier town planning, Bombay Town Planning Act is applicable in this area, and the MRTP Act is not applicable as far as open space is concerned. So can you suggest something so that everybody can have a watchdog sort of a stature, that builders will not be allowed to do something on the open space?
See it's a good question and it's very pertinent, which is required regarding the open space. Norm says that 10% of the plot size should be kept as an open space, open to sky for for playing and recreational activity. That is one thing. Other thing is that there are common open spaces, a common plot identified as a garden or recreational and all. So you need to preserve that plot during the planning process itself, because it is now part of the Pune development plan. So fortunately they have not touched upon all open spaces, because last iteration in 2007 was there was a lot of controversy. I don't know whether you know all these. Lot of open spaces been earmarked for some different type of reservation. And once the people knew that, because I was a part of that, So they protested, and then finally they have to take out all this, concept of putting some recreation. See, in the recreation, there are certain types. I think I mentioned it, and you can also refer into unified. There are also UDCPR is something which is a one which also says, and then there are URDPFI guidelines, which are at the national level and which are freely available. You can download it. There also they mention it about what type of open spaces at what level. We call it as a spatial level. Spatial level means that if this is the 1.7 square kilometer is there, how much population and how many spaces are required is given. And then according to locational aspect, that planner decide where to be located. Now already this is a TP scheme area, so already there are open spaces. Luckily, within the property there are good open space around the building. So one can also say that we don't want to lose any, I am just showing the way that, not to increase the footprint. So all in same footprint, whether they can go up to certain level, which can be agreed, but this economics doesn't work when the real estate, their calculations on based on how much square feet of the extra space they can sell it. So that is there, and there, if all together decide, then I think they can compel it. But every time now, those who are in sitting just like in corporation, and they will say, or builder will say, oh no, I'm not getting enough profit. Now they are all more and more profit.
So just to add to what Rahul sir is saying, we have a matter in the High Court. Okay? In the matter that we have in the High Court, we have got a stay. It's a kind of a technical stay. The stay is that up till all our objections on the UDCPR are not heard in substance and in completion, you will have to continue giving the old DCPR open space law, which is 15%. And that is the reason why everything in Prabhat Road is not over, everything in Bhandarkar Road is not finished, and everything in Model Colony is not over. So 15% they will have to continue leaving as an amenity space up till they don't hear us out completely in High Court. So that is one aspect. Let me complete, I'll explain. In this UDCPR, what is going to happen is, this particular 10% of the open space also that Rawal sir is talking about, you can buy ancillary FSI and give it to you in the air. So which means that if ancillary FSI means I can buy an unlimited amount of additional FSI for parking, for terraces, for open spaces, etc. So if there is a building which is, let us say, 11,000 square feet today, on a plot area of 11,000 square feet, and I get 3 FSI on that, so technically I am able to build 33,000 square feet. I can buy an additional 20,000 ancillary FSI and give you 10,000 square feet or 20,000 square, 15,000 square feet of parking and 5,000 square feet of open space in the air in the building. So I can build a 20-story building. On the 10th floor, I can build an open space, clubhouse, fire refuge area, and all of that as per this UDCPR.
Yes.
No, go on, we'll take all the questions, so don't worry, we are not going anywhere.
No, this what had happened here in the TP scheme 1, that was the municipal corporation had allowed plotting of 6,000 or 8,000 square feet before even open space were kept. Now the builders, in the present thing, when they will merge these 8,000 square feet plots, they will be violating the first TP of keeping those merged plots 10% open space.
So the problem that takes place is every law which succeeds the earlier law creates the new precedent.
No, but here the law is not being succeeded because planning is already happened, and once there is no precedent to that. Now only thing is what was allowed as a area which was not required to be kept as open space, when merged together, that the builder will not be keeping that open space. So if they allow that, at least we'll have another a few acres of open space in model colony. They have been overlooking this.
Actually, for these problems, whole model colony redevelopment to be simulated, and which is the best possible solution if we can just, instead of giving just a one building, then give it to say corporation, and then you can collectively put it is good, because then you can say that okay, this much area, this plot is going to construct this much, and then you can say that this much of open space is required for additional population, and this space is anyway, these open spaces will be deficient. So ultimately they will need that open space, and which they are avoiding. I'll frankly tell you that this is all illegal. In a sense, it is because all these amenities, open space amenities are deficient. And that is what we are saying, that you revise the plan now, whole plan. Why to go for redevelopment 1 and 2 building? It's a redevelopment of the whole city now. So it's a new plan has to be. Yeah, it's and in the law it is said, but only thing is somebody has to challenge it.
So, if I remember correctly, then this was a quarry right here, yeah? And then one fine day, quarrying became illegal. I don't remember, Shamla auntie will correct me, or maybe Shabnam auntie will correct me, because her mother and Shamla auntie and all these guys, they had to fight just to get a hold on this quarry after quarrying had become illegal, and there was a stay, there was a reservation on this open space. Yeah? Now how they had to fight, and the battles that they had to fight, and somehow make this open space an amenity space, and after that an amenity space make it into this beautiful garden where we are sitting today. That's been a journey for all the residents of Model Colony who were involved in this fight. So I remember, I think my grandfather was involved in this fight along with Mr. S.L. Kirloskar. And I just remember some of the snippets. So every open space, fortunately or unfortunately for us, and 15% of all building plan areas for the old DCPR rules is supposed to be let go for amenities. But what amenities? Tomorrow the corporation has the power to classify that amenity as a road. And the developer has the bandwidth or the wherewithal to say, I gave you 15,000 square feet for building a road somewhere else, so you give me this open space in exchange and I will build a building on it. And those kind of laws and provisions exist. That is the reason why we are seeing no open spaces.
अमित आत्ता म्हणाले ना की ही जागा आपण नागरिकांनी कशी वाचवली, तर याचे कागदपत्र महानगरपालिकेकडे नव्हते, पण फोटो जिंकत होते आणि इतर ठिकाणी होते, जे आपण शोधून काढले. त्याची मालकी हक्क शोधून काढला. पाणवठ्याच्या जागा हा आत्ताचा विषय नाही आहे, जुनाही आहे, आणि त्या जागा रिस्टोर करणं हे कंपल्सरी आहे. मला आनंद होतो की मला वाटतं निलिमा तुम्हीच होता का, मनोहर जोशी आपल्याकडे आले होते तेव्हा याचं उद्घाटन झालं, तेव्हा मी हा प्रश्न त्यांच्यापुढे मांडला होता की पाणवठ्याच्या जागा जिथे पाणी आहे ती बुजवायची नाही, ती तशाच पद्धतीने लोकांसाठी ठेवायची. तर हा लॉ त्यांनी 2006 पेपरवर आणला. ते तेव्हा मला वाटतं स्पीकर ऑफ इंडिया होते, आणि म्हणून ते आपल्याकडे याच्या उद्घाटनासाठी आले होते. आणि ह्या जागा म्हणजे अमुकच अशा नाही, तर पाणवठ्याच्या जागा, मी आत्ता जे काही तुम्हाला म्हटलं आहे, कुठे जागा तुमच्या विचारात घेतल्या गेल्या पाहिजेत, की पेशव्यांनी केलेले घाट किंवा पुढच्या सरदारांनी केलेले घाटसुद्धा आपल्याला ते रिस्टोर करून महानगरपालिकेला कंपेल्ड करता येईल. आपल्या हातात टूल खूप चांगलं आहे, फक्त आपण वापरत नाही आणि त्याच्यासाठी कष्टही घेत नाही. तर मला कसे पैसे मिळतील किंवा मला कशी मोठी घरं मिळतील, काही उपयोग नाही त्या मोठ्या घरांचा. फार त्रास होणार आहे पुढे जाऊन आपल्याला.
नमस्कार. आपण खूप मोलाची माहिती दिली इथे. तर आता जसं आपण जाणतो, हा TOD झोन जो आहे हा रायडरशिप वाढवण्यासाठी मेट्रोची लागू करण्यात आला, बरोबर. हे फ्लडगेट्स आता ओपन झालेले आहेत. आता हे मी काही म्हटल्यानं वापस येणार नाही आहेत. तर तुमचा इथे अभ्यास आहे, तर इफ यू सिम्युलेट की ही सगळी जी डेव्हलपमेंट आहे 20-30 इयर्स डाऊन द लाईन तुम्ही काय पाहता की नेमकं काय होईल. जसं की कलकत्ता एक डेड सिटी झाली, राईट. डाऊन द लाईन लोकांनी तिथे राहणं बंद केलं. सो 20-30 इयर्स डाऊन द लाईन इथं जरी मोठमोठ्याले फ्लॅट्स मिळाले आपणाला, किती जरी काही जरी झालं, व्हॉट डू यू थिंक की व्हॉट्स गोन हॅपन, की लोक इथं राहतील की न्यूयॉर्कसारखी डिकंजेशन फी इथं अप्लाय होईल, जर इथे तुम्ही वाहनं घेऊन येणार असाल किंवा इथे इन्शुरन्सचे रेट्स खूप जास्त वाढवतील या पिनकोड्सनुसार, की जर तुम्ही इथे गाडी ठेवत आहात तर त्यानुसार युल बी पेनलाइज टू हॅव अ कार बेसिकली इन दिस एरिया, राईट. म्हणजे ही सगळी टेक्नॉलॉजी तर आपल्याकडे आपल्या होईल. तर मी जस्ट हे जाणू इच्छितो की तुम्ही काय सिम्युलेट करता, हाऊ डू यू सिम्युलेट इट्स गोन हॅपन 20 to 30 years डाऊन द लाईन. कारण आज आपण वापस नाही घेऊ शकत सर. आता जे झालंय ना, आता एखाद्याला 3 मिळालं, तुम्ही आता त्या पुढच्याला 1 घ्या म्हटलं तर तुम्हाला मी मारेल सर. इट्स नॉट गोन वर्क, राईट. द फ्लड गेट हॅव बीन ओपन, सो यू कॅन डू एनिथिंग अबाउट दॅट. हाऊ डू यू सिम्युलेट. आणि आता जसं पाहता माझ्या जनरेशनचे किती लोक दिसत आहेत तुम्हाला इथे. सो तुम्ही जर पाहताय, तुम्ही या गोष्टींसाठी झटणारे आहेत लोक कुठं तुमच्याकडे.
So it's one guy is enough. If nobody fights,
नाही नाही, 2013चा DP मी 2019 पर्यंत लढलो सर. 6 वर्ष लढलो. तो एक रस्ता अडवला होता, बाणेर पाषाण लिंक रोड. त्यासाठी मी अफाट प्रयत्न केले. शेवटी मी म्हटल्याप्रमाणे DP मध्ये गेलं ते, आणि कॅन्सल पण झालं ते मुख्यमंत्र्यांकडे जाऊन. त्याच्यानंतर इतका गिवअप मारला मी तुम्हा लोकांवर की मी देश सोडून निघून गेलो. सुट्टीसाठी आलो सध्या इथे, राईट.
कसं आहे की
म्हणजे मी त्या मंत्रालयामध्ये जायचो, ते लांडगे आणि ते तुमचे कोण सावजी वगैरे बसलेले असायचे 2, ते त्या लोकांकडे जायचो. त्यांना म्हणायचो, अहो तुम्ही माती करताय आमच्या गावची, तुम्ही तर रस्ता ठेवा तिथे DP मध्ये. ऐकायला तयार नसायची ती लोक.
एक गोष्ट अशी होती की यांच्याकडे तुम्ही जेव्हा काही घेऊन जाताना, तेव्हा जर त्याला मागून सायंटिफिक स्टडी असेल ना, त्यांना उत्तर देता येत नाही, मी सांगतो. आणि आपल्या बऱ्याच वेळा अशा चुका होतात की आपण काही न करता नुसतं ब्लँकली जातो, की जसे की तेच आपले म्हणजे करून काय ठरवतील आणि ते. पण आम्ही सांगतोय की मी याचं सांगतोय की तुम्हाला जर तुमच्या मागे हातात जर डेटा असेल आणि तुम्हाला ज्ञान असेल ना, तर त्यांना उत्तर देणं अवघड असतं.
सर आय मीन टू से 1987चा रस्ता त्यांनी 2008 मध्ये कसा रद्द केला, आणि त्या माणसाने तिथे मोठा बंगला कसा बांधला,
नाही कसं
आणि
असतं,
2 लाख लोकांना वेटीस धरलं, हे मी त्यांना सांगतोय.
या सगळ्या गोष्टी लोकशाहीत आपल्याला ऍक्सेप्ट कराव्या लागतात की ज्याचा इन्फ्लुएन्स जास्त असतो तो तिथं काहीतरी जास्त इन्फ्लुएन्स करून करतो. अशा बऱ्याच घटना झाल्या. बरेचसे पार्किंगचे रिझर्वेशन घालवले, असंही झालं.
नाही, पण मला सांगा सर, राष्ट्राची संपत्ती कोण आहेत? आमच्यासारखे लोक आहेत ना, ज्यांच्या काही देणं असताना आम्ही लागतोय.
निराशा नाही, निराशावादी व्हायचं नसतं. हे लढत राहायला लागतं. ही कंटिन्युअस प्रोसेस आहे, आणि यात सर्वांचा सहभाग असला तर चांगलं. बऱ्याच
मॉडेल कॉलनीसाठी आम्ही 27 वर्ष कोर्टात उभे आहोत. हा जो तुकडा आहे ना, हा रस्ता आता आपण वापरतोय, हा आजही कोर्टात आम्ही भांडतोय की या बिल्डरनी